Hi everyone! Today we're here to talk about the basics of robotics and why it's important to know the different levels of robot intelligence so that when you're looking into different companies, you'll get to kind of understand what their current level is for robot intelligence. So let's get started. So one of the fundamental things that's fun to know as kind of like a joke is that Asimov introduced a famous 3 laws of robotics. And I brought this one in because, as robots become more developed in the future, I think it's also nice to recap the famous 3 laws, since I actually watched Wallace and Gromit yesterday, and this kind of had a big reference to it because we can kind of tell that Wallace did not do a good job of following the 3 laws of robotics. But brought this one in. The 3 laws are: 1, a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. 2, a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And the last one is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or the second law. So after learning about this, I thought it'd be nice to know what are some different stages out there related to robotics. So I looked up the levels of robotics written by Dr. Christopher Schneider, and I thought this was very nice to learn and know the basics. So if you guys are ever curious of what different level companies are, it would be very handy. So the first level is no autonomy, remote control. And this is often in surgical robots or any heavy lifting. So you actually need a human being to be controlling the robots. Nothing is being automatically done. It does not have any sensors. So obviously the great example of the surgical robot is when they are using very small, precise robot hands to stitch up any small grape, I think. That was a reference that he was using. Level 2 is it's still no autonomy, so nothing is autonomous, but remote control is not needed. However, senses or response does not exist. So a great example of this would be manufacturing companies. So any assembly line robots you'd be seeing, any factories, those are mostly level 2. And so the definition that he gave was operating behind safety fence following pre-programmed hard-coded motion patterns. So any food making process, you have the machine automatically doing these because they are pre-programmed. Those would be level 2. Now you may get confused with car companies because they also have those pre-programmed hard-coded motions. Personally, I viewed that in level 3, which is no autonomy with sense and response. Now, a lot of people might get confused with level 3 because what does that mean where it's not being autonomous, but it still has senses or response? So I kind of viewed level 3 as humans and robots can work together, but robots can now detect the human motions and stop working until the human action is done. And this is in a lot of safety issues because we don't want them to cross work and have any dangerous moments pop out. So the definition that he gave was by integrating sensor technology such as torque sensors into the robot arm, it can sense external forces and react to its environment in a touch-based way, either by detecting a contact with an operator, by checking for resistance, or for sensitive joining in assembly tasks. And like I said, the best example would be automotive companies. Some parts are automated, but some parts need humans to step in and do the fine tuning or looking at some stats. So car companies need a lot of safety regulations. This would be very handy. The next level is autonomy. This is what people are mostly used to. And I think a lot of the current fancy robots that we are seeing, especially in CES 2025, those would be more in the level 4 sections. And I kind of viewed this as the movie style robot, where it's no longer being pre-coded, so nothing has been embedded in the coding, but rather AI generated and adjusted if the place position changes. A great example that I found, especially from the CES 2025, was the bartender robot, where it was supposed to be doing the shaking of the cocktails or pouring the wine, but it wasn't really pouring the wine. It was placing the cup next to a wine pourer. So that I'm not sure. But like I said, autonomy. The shocking thing is that we are already in level 4 and a lot of things are being automated, which is crazy, but interesting at the same time. So note that a lot of companies are in level 4. And last but not least is level 5, which is the advanced autonomy. And so it's basically level 4 with more advanced robot capabilities. And to me, level 4 and level 5, what would be the difference? Anything that contains voice recognition, you ask the robot to do something and it does for you, or have kind of like a good call and response, or any complex tasks that are being done and more capable of doing complex stuff, I would call that level 5. If it's not just doing one task but doing multiple tasks, I would view that more of the advanced autonomy. So for example, house cleaning robots, not only does it swipe the floor, but it also organizes depending on it. Those would be more advanced, but we haven't seen those type of technology yet. That's why I have not seen any companies that have achieved in the advanced autonomy. If you guys know of any, please let me know. I thought I'd done great job of searching, but maybe not. So a couple of cool looking robots that I found earlier was painting robots. There was one in construction. This is being sold in US and Europe by a company called Okibo. And what it does is it just paints the wall in a construction site. However, it also identifies if there's a window spot, it would stop painting over that and paints the rest. So this, I would view this more as a level 4 autonomy, where it does detect, there is a sensor that detects it. The robot can identify, oh, this is not a painting section. We'll have to skip over it or pause the painting ability. And another interesting painting robot is actual artwork called Dulcinea. This one actually does painting for you, but to be honest, I don't think it was automated, so maybe in like level 2 or level 3. However, they did embed in some type of paint brush washing technique, because obviously they don't want the colors to mix, so that was a cool technology that I was watching. Another cool robot is obviously military robots. Those would be mostly sold anyway, so this is a very heavy focused area. It's used in a lot of bomb disposal and mine clearances as of right now. I think the main purpose of robots, obviously see the dog robots where they support the troops or it's being used as surveillance. Currently, I thought the future of dog robots, because if you've seen some, they run really fast too. I was thinking of, identifying enemies and shooting them, but apparently there is already something like that out there. So, I don't know. I think future of dog robots, I want to see how far it'll go in the military section. And the last one I put in there was humanoids. I think the most famous one is Hiroshi Ishiguro, a Japanese company. I have not figured out the purpose of using it. I was thinking more of like the 19 plus terms of using this humanoids, because obviously they look real. I highly recommend you guys searching for the humanoids created by them, and they can also do some mouth moving actions and they move around, so it was pretty interesting to watch. In the CES 2025, there were pretty interesting robots too. Some of them I was kind of doubting the purpose of using them, but they do exist. Now note that even if there might be other good use of robots, the big money contracts are from industrial and military uses. So those will probably get developed first, or a lot of money will be put into those. Hint, hint. So a couple of companies that are out there creating robots that I just put that are well known were Boston Dynamics, Unitree Robotics, Hanson Robotics, Ghost Robotics. I would highly recommend looking out for these names because they are pretty famous one. But note that none of these that I've listed are public companies, but you can look out for those who might be in partnership with any of these companies because, like I said, a lot of people do know them. And to kind of wrap up my thoughts about the future of robotics, humanoids, I honestly think will take a very long time, maybe 10 years from kind of what I've looked into. I know that in the CES 2025, Unitary Robotics with the humanoids was pretty interesting, but it also looked kind of scary. Especially when they were being folded up. I don't know if you guys seen it, but I highly don't recommend seeing it. It looked kind of scary. And what I'll be worried about when humanoids are being fully developed is that more jobs I can see will be taken away once they are fully developed. So they will have to find different ways for humans to still work, especially because even to this day, a lot of daily tasks are being automated, which was my second point of robotics. Especially because in Korea, I actually get to see a lot of robot servers. I know some people might think that they're not robots because it's just like a automotive cart, but it's still automated. They are coming to my spot and saying, hello, now pick up your food so I can go. So they can detect the weight changes. So in that sense, I am worried. And this kind of leads up to my final point of the future of robotics is that the fact that they are trying to make even small daily tasks autonomous does worry me. Especially the vacuum cleaner that I saw, the 2025 version by Roborock. It picks up socks for you, but the fact that there are socks on the floor, maybe it's good for beneath the sofa. You can't reach it, so it'll reach it. But to be honest, some of the daily tasks, I think a lot of people should be doing it, or else you'll be too dependent on technology. And that's where I made a good reference to my chat about Wallace and Gromit, because as you guys can see in the movie, spoiler alert, Wallace does rely a lot on technology. So I think the fact that a lot of people will become lazy and too reliant does worry me a lot in the future, but we'll have to see. Nothing is well known. So this was the basics of robotics that I found and looked into. I hope this helps you, especially the levels of robotics. I think those definitely do confuse me, especially because when I was looking into it, I had to decipher what level of robotics I would be looking into, which I had no clue what that meant. But now that I looked into it, we kind of understand that a lot of companies have and is still looking into level 5. So I don't think a lot of companies have reached there yet. But we are already in level 4 of autonomy, where everything is doing things without us having to control it, which is pretty scary. But as long as you're being safe and follow the famous 3 laws of robotics, I think we'll be in good hands. So anyways, this was all for robotics. The basics. I hope this helps you understand and how you'll be looking into robotics. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Other than that, that's all for today, and see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.